You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody into SRM Racing Media tonight. The drivers of the Racers Elite Superspeedway Series head to Daytona with, I believe they're in the next gen cars. Last week it was the trucks. This week it's the next gen. Who knows what the next week might hold. We saw a heck of a finish, 0.024 separating the top three drivers. So see if they can go back to that, as last week it was Talladega. Billy Hensley with the win. Andrew Teft, Richard Ode round out those top three spots. Not too much separating them. I'm Mike Devoney up in the booth this week, and back with me is Matt. Matt, man, how is it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited to be here. I mean, when we seen that finish here in the last race, we know that this season's going to be one heck of a battle to watch.
Now waiting to get some drivers out on track. Looks like a few of them got out there and made a qualifying lap. Right now, Eric Dodd is up on the pole with a 49.51, and then we have Rick Webb and Justin Byers with a 49.52.
Sadly, I don't see Hensley in the field tonight.
Yeah, I don't either. I think he said something about maybe missing a race here and there, so this might be one of the ones that he's going to not make it to. But, and just as I say that, it looks like we got a couple drivers headed to the track, so we might be able to get on board here. 98 machine of Andrew Teff going to make his qualifying bid. He definitely has had enough practice at Daytona today. For those of you that were around earlier in the afternoon, we did have a awesome event take place with the Kansas City Pioneers, sponsored by the Army National Guard. About 6 hours of racing here at Daytona, 4 heats and the final. So it was a heck of a race, and we're glad that they chose us to broadcast there. Andrew Teff did take part, Kinsley Smith as well. Kirby Wainscott was in there, Truth Hoke. Terry Fennell also made it, so lots of the drivers from the Racers Elite Series were represented there.
I still can't get over how the front end of these Mustangs look ever since they sent out that update.
If we can go a look. It's definitely a lot different than it was before. Coming through 3 and 4 here. Teft can do out there by himself. 49.54. Not too bad. Jump over to Brandon Honeycutt in the 13 Toyota.
Right now, that's good enough for P10 with the 49.63.
See what Andrew Teff did on his second lap. 49.53. Watching these guys run, it seems I don't know, a little odd to me, I guess. I'm used to seeing guys. Oh, here we go. As Alex Teff is up on the wall, I was going to say, I'm used to seeing guys with this first lap get right up against the wall, try and get as much speed built up into their rides as they can, and then on that second lap, they'll just pull left and keep those 2 tires right on the yellow line as they go around.
I expect we'll see a couple of people start to do that here as Brandon Honeycutt bangs in at 49.52 on his second lap for 4th quick.
Now these guys, all the guys that have qualified, are only separated by 0.06. So it's going to be dynamite action here tonight.
The joys of plate racing.
Yeah. Let's see what Alex can do as he gets that car right on that yellow line, trying to hold the wheel as steady as possible coming down the backstretch. I think he almost ran the slowest first lap we've seen. So we'll see if he can get a little more speed out of that 43 Toyota. Uh, 49.61. Definitely not the lap he probably was hoping for. Got the Hamburglar out here in that 23 Toyota. And he goes
Good
second
enough.
quick. 49.52. So they almost stole the pole there. And qualifying is over, so.
I see what you did there.
You did? Yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm tired, but you You almost snuck it in on me.
These guys should be hopping over into their cars, into the race session. Get ready to go here. Eric Dodd from Moorhead, Kentucky. Jason Burdick just to his outside. We got Rick Webb and Justin Byers in row 2. Row 3, Brandon Honeycutt and Brian LaPratt. Richard Ode ran a heck of a race last week. Andrew Teft as well. Rowan Lloyd in the 61 Toyota just inside of Truth Oak in row 5. Row 6, you'll find the KFC number 10 Chevy of Kirby Wainscott with Garrett Michael just to his outside. We got Alex Teft and Kinsley Smith. Terry Fennell was one of the faster drivers in practice. Didn't put down a qualifying lap, so we'll see what he can do here in the race session. Starting 16th is Matt Metler, and it looks like Nicholas Balsetta will start shotgun on the field.
So I believe in the last race it was Falsetta who had the connection issues. It'll be I look forward to seeing on how he can actually do today. Hopefully resolving those issues.
Well, he has plenty of time to do that. We're set for 80 laps here tonight. One fast repair, 75% fuel. Unlimited tires, because who needs tires at a super speedway? So Dodd and Burdick are going to lead them on down here. So we know the first, 75 laps aren't really going to matter. It's all about who you can dance with at the end, right?
It definitely is, but every action that you do, as we've seen last week, matters in those 75 laps leading up to the finish.
Yeah, pace car's going to make that left-hand turn. And Dodd with the button as he gets ready to roll here on the inside lane. And we are down and away, and we are green flag racing in the Super Speedway Series.
They kept them side by side on that restart. Managed to keep the field bunched up and tight, and we're ready to dance.
Yeah, they are hooked up. They are ready to roll here. Like I said, a lot of these drivers took part in the race this afternoon, depending on where you're located, and they are using everything they learned. And they are 2x2 through at least half the field. Back half a little spread out a bit, but getting a little loose
dicey there. Dodd is going to lead lap number 1. And we're wrecking Burdick hard into the wall. We have our first caution of the night as we see a big pile up.
I don't know who wasn't involved in that.
Wasn't expecting that after last week.
No.
You know,
Let's see.
a little bit of, looks like some sawing action on that
Yeah.
right rear.
Eh, 54 goes down inside of Dodd, but that didn't cause it. It's up in front with the 23 machine of Jason Burdick.
And everybody else just had nowhere to
yeah,
go.
there's nowhere to go.
In the last 2 weeks, I think the unluckiest driver has been Truth Hope. He's been caught up in everything.
Yeah, I mean, here's on board with Kinsley Smith. You don't even see it until it's too late. Oh, he gets a little bump there.
You know, and I do want to toss it out here. The big difference between the trucks and these next gens is with the next gens, you can run and establish that line on the outside and keep it 2 lanes. Whereas with the trucks, you were more dependent on running the bottom, or everybody had to be in the same line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Andrew Teft, no bumper there on that ride.
Quite a few cars without a bumper there.
Yeah.
I so far see 5, maybe 6.
Heavy damage 3 laps in.
54 looks like a little bit right front toe out, front end.
Yeah.
And the right rear's bent in.
It looks like he's having a hard time steering it there. Looks like he took his faster pair too.
That's brave.
I think the only driver that might not have had any damage is Nicholas Falsetta, as he was coming from 5-6 seconds back and looked like he was able to slam on his brakes and miss the action there.
Maybe Dot as well, as we see him stay out.
Yeah, look bad.
My apologies. Justin Byers? Or no, it is Dodd.
Yep. Yeah, it's Dodd.
81 and 87, and you know, little.
They look kind of similar, the way the font is on that machine. The 81 is going to be getting a EOL for causing that incident.
Now, which brother is this?
The first one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Justin. Jordan was in the Talladega 500 on Sunday.
They're what, 18 and 81, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And it looks like he might be coming down to pit as he let other drivers by, but maybe not. Okay, I don't know why he slowed down because I thought he was right behind the pace car.
He was initially. I haven't heard anything from race control about, you know, potentially dropping to the back or anything else like that, so.
Byers and Teft all spent extra time on pit lane. Actually, almost everybody did.
How
Brandon.
about that?
Huh?
Look at that name at the lead of the pack. It looks like the 101 of Brian LaPratte.
Yeah, Brian LaPratte, yeah. He's found himself in some dicey situations here and there. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, in the Superspeedway series, he wound up wrecking out towards the end after being towards the front, and then the Talladega 500, I believe he won it, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, or I know he at least was on the podium for it. He had a very strong showing.
Looks like everybody's back in line.
This is going to change everybody's strategy. I mean, if you had to burn a quick repair already on lap, you know, as we're on lap 5 coming to 6, you're going to have to be a lot more patient.
Or your night's going to be over pretty quick. But they are back to green flag racing. Brian LaPratt on the inside gets a pretty good run. It's hooked up with, looks like Rowan Lloyd. But Rick Webb's hanging tough on the high line. Oh, 3 wide goes Brandon Honeycutt as the 27 machine is all over the track again.
I expect Honeycutt to be running consistently in the top 3 here, as we see him roughly in the 5th or 6th position on the outside.
You got Garrett Michael, Kinsley Smith, Brandon Honeycutt, all working that outside line. And just as I say that, it's going to be Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt. Ruth Hoke trying to pull his way back up there. 3rd on the outside.
Not managed to catch or has caught the draft of the 50 machine of Fennel, as he stays committed to running the inside line.
Jason Burdick trying to get back towards the front. McDonald's, KFC, right together there. There's an A&W one in here somewhere too, so, you know.
Yep, towards the front of the pack.
Rick Webb leading.
There's your A&W car running in P2.
Looks like Brian LaPratt picked up some sponsorship or something, because last week it was all blacked out.
Yeah, I'm not used to this look from him. It's very busy.
Maybe he just hired some high schoolers to put some graffiti on there, call it good.
Anything better than, or anything is better than that jet black car.
Rowan Lloyd. Well, that side line's losing momentum here. There's only a couple of cars up there. Looks like Truth Hoke's kind of bouncing in and out of that line. If he can stay with Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith, they could push their way towards the front.
I'm almost curious if Smith has any front end damage. I didn't see any on his 15 machine.
He might, because he spent a minute and 6 seconds in his pit box on that last caution. So he still might have some. Oh! Garrett Michael goes up in front. Truth Hoke around again. Truth just can't find that lucky horseshoe.
I just hope he's not trying to buy a lottery ticket tonight. Just save your money.
See what happened. I don't know if it was just Garrett Michael or if he got a bad bump there from LaPratt. Let's see. Oh.
Looked like he got he bumped Webb just a little bit off and tried to follow it up. And didn't expect the run.
Yeah, let's see. Go to the nose of his. Yeah, he bumped him, and that sent him up the track. Let's see if we can look at onboard with Truth Hoke. Oh, yeah. He was hoping that car would turn around, and it just didn't. Oh, and then he noses with Kinsley Smith.
Smith looks like he broke his right front on that one. Oh, yeah, Hoke is destroyed.
Yep, he's done. See if any of those drivers take their quick repair. I'm assuming Truth is probably going to. Maybe not. Unless he already did.
Ray Pennell in the 50 machine only had a pit stop of 7 seconds, so he may have just did a quickie.
So 11 laps in. Like Honeycutt's going to come down. Rowan Lloyd, Andrew Teff, Jason Burdick, Alex Teff, Richard Ode, Kirby Wainscott. Basically half the field's going to come down again here.
I believe they're expecting a long green flag runs. Week 1 we had that, I believe it was 54 laps of green flag racing. You know,
Yeah.
So if these guys go to get that run again, everybody who just pitted from 4th on back, they're going to be sitting at an advantage over Webb and LaPrade and Dodd.
Yeah, that's always something to kind of watch. You see these guys try and pick this strategy of what's going to happen. You know, you see sometimes short pitting works better at super speedways, and sometimes it's a guy who can stay out a little longer. So it's one of those kind of double-edged swords there.
Definitely. And we're looking at a 8-lap difference, essentially, between the top 3 and the rest of the field. So that'd be one thing to watch.
We'll be probably starting lap 14 when we take the green flag once again. They should be getting ready to stack back up after they cross the start-finish line this time.
But Balsetta and Hoke both obviously have the meatballs. They're still sitting in the pits trying to repair.
Looks like Garrett Michael called it a night from what I'm seeing here.
I believe it'd be safe to do so. The 63 machine, I believe that was the A&W car?
Yep. Who's still sitting on the pits 4 minutes in.
His car has cut off their lights, so we are 1 to green.
1 to green. Like I said last week, we were at Talladega in the trucks. We're at Daytona here in the next gen. Next week, we head to New Atlanta in the Xfinity car. So look for a lot more fun racing ahead here.
That should be some good racing at Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's put on some shows. At a race on Thursday there. In the trucks, and it was separated by milliseconds for first, and then even the top 5. I mean, we were 5 wide coming to the start-finish line, so it was a heck of a race.
And this will be the New Atlanta, correct?
Correct. The Superspeedway-ish track.
So if you're watching tonight, put in your predictions in the chat. Let us know on who you're rooting on, what you expect to see. Any anything you guys have to say, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you know how these Super Speedway Series races can get.
Oh yeah.
Little stack back up. Rick Webb on the inside. Brian LaPratte on the high side.
Maybe I'll have to take over Metler's car and show him how it's done. Let Metler come up here and sit in the booth as we watch the pace car drop off in the pit road.
Rick Webb with the button. Waits almost to the very end. And then gets back on that throttle. That outside line's pretty hooked up, though. Brian LaPratte and Brandon Honeycutt nose to tail. And Jason Burdick looking to get his way back into the top spot after being involved in the first caution of the night.
Honeycutt is sitting in a pretty safe spot running P4 on that high side. Going to be pushing LaPratte and has Burdick right behind him. I'd almost, yep, they're dropping right there. Oh, and they're leaving Burdick out high and dry.
Looks like they got clear and went down to that line. Bobby Cameron in the chat cheering for LaPratte. He is the man on the move as he is up 5 spots as well.
Metler must have heard me because he's already up 7. He's running in the 9th position in that 311 machine.
Yeah, it looks like he got to the high side, got in front of Kinsley Smith and Andrew Teft, and they're like, come on, let's go to the front.
These next gens definitely seem like they move around a lot more than what the trucks were in the season opener.
Yeah, that is, they can run side by side more. At least you can see them run side by side more. But it seems like they're a lot more difficult as Eric Dodd goes flying down the track again, able to avoid pit road, though he won't have to get that penalty, but it looks like he's going to jump to the pits anyway.
Honeycutt's running right behind LaPratte. And knowing Honeycutt, he wants to get out and he wants to lead a couple laps. You know, at what point does he try to sneak out from LaPratte, or does he commit to LaPratte and just work with him and try to push away from everybody else?
I kind of think you want to just work together, get a little bit of a gap between yourselves and everybody else, and then do the old the swap as you come out of a corner or something to try and keep your momentum. But we'll see what happens here.
I mean, Honeycutt also has 8 laps extra of fuel compared to LaPratte and Webb.
Yeah, if I was LaPratte, I would let Honeycutt lead, let him break that hole in the air there. That way you can save a little bit of fuel, because right now, Honeycutt's, A, he's got 8 more laps, but B, he's drafting behind you, so he's not using the fuel he was using before.
No, and he's really forcing their hand. Looks like Eric Dodd is back on track after sliding through the front stretch grass as the leaders approach.
Well, I thought he was going to jump to the pit, but it doesn't look like he did. Looks like he just stayed out on track. He's up high. He's going to force these guys all to be a single file out, but that didn't happen as the 81 is up in front of him now. See if we can take a look and maybe see what happened here with Dodd real quick. Go back and see what happened. Nothing really so far. Oh, nothing. Yeah, nothing really happened to him. Just lost control all by himself, and that's just kind of the way it went. But LaPratte, Honeycutt, Webb Burdick and Lloyd.
Kinsley Smith currently holds the fastest lap at a 45.81. He's figured out that draft.
Yeah, he's making it work pretty well here. Trying to see where everybody else is. Looks like we got 3 cars back here. Andrew Teff, Matt Mettler, and Terry Fennell trying to figure out who can lead this pack to try and get the draft.
The rough spot to be in.
Yeah, you're just hanging on, hoping for a caution. As long as you stay on the lead lap, you're good. Once you start seeing these lead lap cars get towards the back of you, that's when you start getting a little bit nervous.
They're still free falling. They're 8 seconds back now.
We'll figure out what happened to Eric Dodd. Motorsports Moments says Eric Dodd uses VR and it shut off mid-corner.
Oh, no.
Well, if that's the case, that was a heck of a save then, because he didn't hit anything really, and he didn't hit any other cars. So
that's the only thing I hate about VR is, you know, if you like to race in a dark room like I do, you know, sometimes they'll lose tracking, so it's the equivalent of it turning off. And you just pray for everybody else. Ooh, as we see Rick Webb get a bump.
yeah, almost not a good one there, as he is getting that little bit of sawing action. We saw it a lot more last week, but that sawing action is not a good thing.
No, especially on these bumpers. You know, I think these stick out a little bit more versus what the trucks do.
Yeah, and all of them are not uniform. So like the Toyotas maybe line up a little bit better with the Toyotas, but if you put a Ford in front of them, it's not gonna get pushed the same.
And really, look at the inside line. You've got a Chevy, Toyota, Ford. Maybe another Ford and then a Chevy.
Yeah.
So we see Burdick drop to the bottom side.
He's trying to get that 23 machine back out front. Kirby Wainscott, though, he is up front. Don't get to see that too often here, man.
That finger-licking good car.
Just as long as it doesn't wind up fried at the end of the night, it'll be good. The
Looks
nice
like
thing.
got that,
Go ahead.
looks like they have that high side figured out with Wainscott and Smith here. They're able to keep it rather smooth.
Yeah, these are two of the drivers that had plenty of practice at Daytona in these next gens this morning. They seem to figure it out, and they seem also to be able to work pretty well together. They run in every other series that they have here in the Racers Elite. But it is nice to see some of these new guys come in and put on a show that we're used to seeing from these guys at Racers Elite.
So out of the Racing Elite group, or Racers Elite group, my apologies, how did they do? I didn't get a chance to actually catch up on what happened in earlier races today.
I know Kinsley Smith and Andrew Teff made it out of heat number 1. Andrew Teff had a moment with like 2 laps to go, I believe, and then wound up getting just inside that top 10 in this heat race to advance. And then I didn't get a chance to look at the feature. I know they didn't run terrible. I think they finished about mid-pack out of the 40 drivers. So.
But still, to make this show, that's major.
Yeah, they were, I mean, basically they had 4 heats, and they were taking the top 10 drivers from each heat. And I believe, whoa, Justin Byers goes around. We're staying green, though, because he's off the racing surface, but he might have had a little bit of a bad month there, too.
Watch this next pack. Oh.
What was... I'm thinking that's going to get a DQ. Pretty sure.
Terry Fennell may be done.
Nothing Terry could do.
Mettler barely squeezed by with that one. I feel for Terry, though.
Let's see what happened with Justin here. What caused it in the first place? $23 down below that yellow line and just gives him a bad bump. That doesn't look a terribly... Another view.
No, but when you sit and you ride in the cockpit, just getting word now, Justin Byers in the 81 machine has officially been disqualified from tonight's event.
So this is on board with the 23 here.
So he did burp the throttle, and I think he was just trying to sneak back in line. So you watched his tach drop down to about 82, 8,300.
Yeah, he was trying to stay.
I've got nothing, and I'm going to say nothing.
Yeah, it's just super speedway racing. A lot of it. It's hard to slow down when you're going 200 miles an hour.
Well, it looks like Kirby Wainscott is going to win the race off of pit road and restart on the pole position. There's a name we haven't really talked about tonight. The 78 machine of Richard Ode is going to be P3.
Made his 3 pit stops. Kirby Wainscott has made 4 pit stops.
Look at that damage on the side of that driver's side door of Richard Ode. That's pancaked in already.
Oh yeah, it is.
And we may have just had somebody blow up towards the back of the pack. Maybe Falsetta?
Yep.
He has bad luck the opening night and now bad luck this week. It's a rough start to the season.
Well, we've got Truth Hoke done. Garrett Michael done. Mike Falsetta is probably done. Looks like he's towing to the pit, so his race is probably over. Terry Fennell in the pits still, trying to get repaired. Justin Byers is done. Well, that leaves 12 cars on the track.
I don't want to jinx us.
For 50 laps.
Pace car's cut its lights off. It's telling everybody to get side by side and let's re-rack and restack and let's go racing again. So everybody is back onto the same pit cycle.
Oh, it looks like Terry Fennell just parked it, said he's done. Alcetta is still, like he's still in his pits. Got over, I'm gonna say with an engine, I bet he has at least 20 to 30 minutes of repairs.
Yeah. Yeah, his night's done for sure.
Yeah. So everybody on the lead lap. Wayne Scott Smith going to lead him on down here to the green flag. Richard Ode and Brian LaPratte in row 2. Alex Teff, Brandon Honeycutt, row 3. Pace car makes that left-hand turn down pit lane. Geico restart zone, and Kirby Wainscott is down and away. Looked like he tried to get a jump so he could jump up in front of Hensley Smith, but Richard Ode stayed right with him.
Had a lot of people sleeping on that start right there. So we watched the field get spread out.
Yeah, watch this high line start to form up. They're probably going to be looking for the lead as we get to the back into the backstretch here, as Kirby Wainscott was left out all by himself out there.
Kirby made the smartest move that he could make and was just basically drop to the inside, hold his line, let everybody come around him. You know, if you try throwing that block, you're just going to junk the entire field.
We've never seen that before.
Never.
Hensley Smith didn't put down a qualifying lap. Started deep in the field, and now he is to the point.
Apparently running 13 or plus 13.
Smith, LaPratte, Honeycutt. Looks like Rick Webb and Jason Burdick found each other in that high line.
Mettler moved up to try to assist them, but that high line's just dropping like a rock. We may actually get single file here.
Maybe we should get single file here and log some laps.
A big move by Rick Webb to get to that inside row.
Yeah, he knew he was fading back. He found a little opening and stuck his nose in there and hoped everybody would allow him to be there. Rick Webb jumps back out to the high side. Andrew Teff goes with him, but they are going nowhere in a hurry.
Everybody looks to be on a decent lap within the draft, so damage isn't really playing that much of a factor at this point.
Yeah, not at all. And the guy who benefited the most from that caution is actually running P12, and that's Eric Dodd after having some hardware failure. He is back on the lead lap and with the draft.
He's on a mission to move to that high side as we see Burdick slide up in there.
Now Kinsley Smith pulls up high. Going to let everybody else go around. He's going to fade to the back again, and wonder if he's just trying to ride around here and avoid calamity.
You know, I know when a lot of drivers do that, they want to test to see how fast they can work up through that field to try to prep themselves for that run later in the race. So we see him peek back to the outside as we're 3 wide.
3 wide, Burdick in the middle, Ode on the bottom, and Dodd on the top.
I think the safest place on this track is at the point.
I would say you either want to be clear up front or about 3 or 4 seconds behind this group that we have enough time to react if something breaks off.
LaPrade versus Webb. Who's going to lead this lap?
Webb is going to, because he's got Andrew Teft right on his bumper.
Don't look now, but Mettler's running P4.
He got hooked up with Andrew Teft, and now he is pushing his way towards the front. If he can stay in line, he might hang around for a piece of this thing. And Kinsley Smith back up to P3 on the outside.
These guys are moving. Like, they're not messing around. Mettler goes low with Teft.
Looks like he almost didn't have enough room to slide down in front of Rick Webb. He was able to get it done. Andrew Teft going to lead a lap here. Matt Mettler. Okay, Matt Mettler pushed him out front there.
I was surprised Mettler left Smith on the high side. I was expecting him to stay with him.
I think if there was enough room, Kinsley Smith would have came down and they would have stayed together, but Andrew Teft goes out, tests the water on the high side, saw a huge run coming and thought better of it and got back down to the inside line.
Mettler with a solid push off of 4, trying to push Teft back to the lead. As we're going to see Teft lead that lap.
Yeah, Teft was able to lead that lap. If you watch the drivers running in that second place, both on the inside and outside lane, Mettler and Dodd, they're getting a little loose, and they're almost and they're getting loose in opposite directions. They're almost touching when they were coming around that turn 4 there. So we'll see if they can get it back in line and stay off of each other here.
And with these next gens, I believe it's the 3rd and the 4th car, mainly more of the 4th car that controls everything in that line.
Yeah, if we see a group of 4 hook up and stay, pretty much in line, they're going to be able to pull away from this pack the way they're racing, as everybody's kind of doing their own thing a little bit.
Smith back to the point, leading Teft and Mettler. As Eric Dodd pulls just past Mettler on the high side.
That outside line seems to have all the momentum as Eric Dodd goes to the point. Richard Ode right behind him with Honeycutt and Burdick.
That's getting too dicey. It's not going to end good. Ode may be getting a little bit hot with as much as he's bouncing right behind Dodd.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get a little air on the nose of that machine. You see it happen a lot during these next gens, that the cars get a little hot, a little quick, especially if you're pushing. And we also saw last week, if you push a little too hard, it can actually almost get hooked, stuck together almost.
So we approach the halfway point in this race. Andrew Teft is currently sitting P1, Kinsley Smith P2, Matt Mettler, Eric Dodd, and Richard Ode is your top 5.
Twelve cars out on track, 12 cars on the lead lap.
Kinsley Smith is really working this both lanes here, low and high, trying to keep both lines behind him.
Yeah, I think that might be a strategy play That's going to come into effect later in the race, trying to figure out where he wants to be as Richard Ode pulls down to the inside, gets in front of Andrew Teff. 78 and 98 working together now. See if Ode can lead a lap here.
Teff with a solid push. Ode gets it done, leads that lap.
Yeah, it looks like Kinsley Smith got a little loose, or maybe fell asleep at the wheel, started to drift down towards Ode, and was able to grab that steering wheel back up and go back to the high side. And they are still battling side by side.
Ode's falling like a brick. Let's see if this top three drops to the bottom. As Dodd makes a look to the inside of Kinsley Smith for the lead.
Rick Webb getting a little loose back there. Pratt as well. They stay in line here. Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt. Jason Burdick also in that high line.
Honeycutt's all over Kinsley Smith there. If Smith makes the wrong move, he's going to get turned.
And they're bouncing just a little bit off of each other, too. It's just, that is so close racing there. They do go down to the inside in front of Eric Dodd. See if Eric Dodd's going to pull out and go to the high side, or if he's going to just stay behind him for now.
Kind of looking at the cars on track here. We mostly have Toyotas. We have 6 Toyotas out of the 12 cars running right now. 4 Chevys and 2 Fords.
So the question is a Toyota going to win?
That is a really good question. But I'm going to have to lean towards it being a Chevy.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. They seem pretty tough on track. Kinsley Smith, Eric Dodd, and you have Kirby Wainscott and Brian LaPrada, the Chevys left in the race.
I mean, LaPrade and Wainscott, you can't really go against them at all. If you're a betting man, you kind of have to go with the house on that one.
Yeah, I got Brandon Honeycutt and Jason Burdick as the top 2 running Toyotas. Top running Ford is Andrew Teft out of the 2 Fords left in the race.
I could almost go for a milkshake right now. Thanks, Burdick. Knowing our luck, McDonald's is stealing again and the ice cream machine's down.
That never happens ever. At least I have a McDonald's in my town. I don't have a KFC or any of that stuff.
You know, I really liked it when KFC did the 3-in-1. I believe it was what, KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Or, yeah. So, I'm excited to finally bring this up. Pit strategy. We're working lap 46. These guys last pitted on lap 27. They got to start thinking about pits, who you're coming in with, and when do you come in.
Yeah. I would lean towards them at least making it to 54, 55 before they try and decide to do that. But you never know. Every time we try and guess pit strategy, they will do exactly the opposite of whatever we're talking about.
Now we only have the top 9 running together. We just seen Andrew Teff fall back with Rick Webb and Alex Tuft. These 3 will probably pit together, and I'm not sure if this was intentional or if something happened.
It looks like they might have just lost the draft a little bit, and that's just what happens there.
Sounds like somebody just potentially blew up.
Oh.
Oh, Honeycutt got too hot, it looks like.
If we can.
Oh yeah, that motor's off. That's a heartbreaker for Honeycutt.
Well,
He's been running consistently in the top 5 most of the night.
the only thing that might save him is if he has his faster pair and he can make it on fuel after this pit stop.
Very true.
And that's only a might.
You know, and before Honeycutt blew up, his spotter had left. Looks like Honeycutt just took his quicker pair and he's headed back out.
Yeah, so I think he'll lose a lap. So not the end of the world, especially the way these guys are running. You know,
Maybe a blessing.
Yeah, you know they're probably going to have to pit at some point.
As we see Honeycutt come into the picture. So really, this didn't hurt him that bad. Yes, he loses a lap, but he should be able to catch the tail end of that draft.
Yeah, everybody else is going to have to pit anyway, so.
He may be a little bit too far out of the draft. Yep, he's going to lose it.
Yeah, that's going to be the part that's going to hurt. He'll be able to get in line with Andrew, Rick, and Alex back there in the back, but see how fast they come up on him though too.
You know, and if you're a group of 3, you let that lead car overtake and then you just kind of fall in. And I'll leave one car to push Honeycutt back up to them, and then now you have your group of 4. Let's see what their move is.
I think they were almost trying to leave him a little bit of a gap, but see if they start to slow down just a bit or not.
Looks like Alex is slowly letting off just a tad for Honeycutt to catch him.
Looks like he's probably going to be pretty close there. Well, maybe not. Like he was trying to.
No, that's the hard part too, is you want to help somebody, but you can't sabotage yourself either.
Yeah. Back up front, though, it's Kinsley Smith and Eric Dodd.
So your two biggest movers of the race is Kinsley Smith and Matt Medler, both up plus 13.
They can't quite get that outside line to form up. We keep going back single file. And now Wayne Scott and Ode is out there on the high side.
I think if Metler went up, then they would be able to get that high side going.
Yeah, I don't envision Metler doing that. Go back and check in. Oh, yep, Honeycutt was able to catch that draft, so 4-car pack, and they are, looks like they are catching this lead pack too, so.
At this point, Honeycutt's the only one a lap down. So he's sitting pretty there.
Yeah, if anything were to break off, he'd be in a prime position. And he's not terrible right now either, as you know, he did pit. As long as he has enough fuel to make it, if this does stay green, and everybody else has to come down one more time, he might be in a fairly decent position.
Especially with drafting behind both Tufts and Webb. I mean, he's the last car in that, so he can save the most there.
Wayne Scott's still hanging out on the high side. Looks like he's finally getting a little bit of momentum here as he's stuck the nose in front of Metler. I think if they get a little bit more momentum there, they might have the 61 of Rowan Lloyd jump up behind them, but like they just lost it all coming out of 4 there.
And I'm waiting to see if we're going to start seeing that side draft come into effect here, or if they're going to kind of wait and let this play out. Because we see Wayne Scott drop behind Lloyd.
Yeah, Wayne Scott saw an opening, said, no, I'm down. I'm staying. I'm going to get down in line. Well, I think we might have been able to see the side draft work, but the way these guys are bouncing around, I don't know that I would be I'd be very I would be very cautious if I was trying to do that.
I mean, Honeycutt may be excited for something like that.
Yeah.
As we see that.
I'll say, as we say that, they're side drafting, trying to get that second line going, and they are up there. Andrew Teft almost getting pushed to the lead now.
We're going to start seeing pit stops here shortly.
Yeah, like I was saying, 55 or a little after, and that's exactly what's happening here. So let's see.
Hensley Smith, Eric Dodd, Wayne Scott, and Burdick all hit pit road.
So, quick math, if they're basically out of fuel, Honeycutt will have just enough to finish the race.
Well, here's the catch. If Honeycutt can catch them as they cycle back out, if he doesn't catch them when they cycle and he has to run solo, I don't think he'll have enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. I think he's gonna be able to catch them when they're cycling back out. But we will see.
As he will fight the hard way to get his to get his lap back.
Leaders are 5 seconds in front of him. So if he can get close enough to catch that draft, he will be sitting pretty good here.
Or even that group that he was just running with, if he can catch them. As they are now back on track.
It's going to be close. Probably that slowdown from him blowing his engine is probably going to wind up costing him if he can't catch him.
And as they cycle back out, it looks like the Teff brothers are going to be 1-2.
Wayne Scott and Kinsley Smith are paired together. Rick Webb gonna catch them. Then you have Ode back there as well. Rowan Lloyd and Matt Metler. Burdick, Dodd, and LaPratt. And then Honeycutt is all by himself.
So in the pit cycle, both Teff brothers and Wayne Scott were in the 9-second range, whereas Kinsley Smith, Lloyd, Matt Metler, Burdick, Dodd, LaPratt were all 13-second plus.
Well, I bet Andrew and Alex only took enough fuel to get them to the end of the race, or close enough. As they ran the lap 59. So they only needed 21 laps of fuel, and it looked like a fuel run was 31, so I bet they probably filled that thing 60% fuel. So
that's going to be a big gamble if we catch green-white checkered.
I'm going to say if we do that, everybody's going to come down and get fuel. But maybe not. I mean, and really, even if we do, they'll come down, get fuel, and they'll start row 6. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
No. Not at all.
How these guys are. Yep, that's what I thought. Yep, Rick Webb caught him, so that's a trio now. And you have the main pack back here. It was biking, they'd say peloton.
They're slowly gaining on the lead pack.
Yeah, they're gaining on that next little trio there. It was over 5 seconds. Now it's down almost inside 4. And Kirby Wayne Scott is going to the high side with Kinsley Smith going to try and pass for the lead here. But it looked like Alex Teff saw him coming and tried to force him up to go a little bit higher.
So everybody from 6 on back is loving this view of these guys fighting each other.
Yeah, Andrew and Alex should have just let him go, slide up behind him, get that 4-car pack going, and they should start pulling away. And it looks
We're
like they're doing just that.
Currently approaching 15 to go with Wayne Scott Smith, both Tough Brothers, and Rick Webb as your top 5.
It looks like Rick Webb is probably lost the draft a little bit.
9/10 a second. Yep, he's out of it.
Yeah. Rowan Lloyd leading this next pack. Brendan Honeycutt hoping for a caution. He's on the lead lap now.
See this second pack, it's gonna be interesting to see if they try to pick up Webb or if they just leave Webb out.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now it looks like they're not exactly pushing each other, so they're not gaining time on that pack. The gap between themselves, oh, now maybe they might be just a little bit. It wasn't going anywhere for quite a while, but it looks like Matt Medler has decided to give Rowan Lloyd a heck of a shove. He was all over that back bumper, and they started going places there.
With 13 to go, it's go time. You don't have a choice. It's, you know, it's time to nut up or shut up, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I mean, you can roll around here in the back of the pack and say, yay, I finished, 5th or 6th at Daytona. But you want to win. I mean, if you're in the race car, you want to win.
We've seen Matt Metler push Lloyd a little bit sideways off that previous turn. Metler knows it's go time as he gives Lloyd the bumper again.
Yeah, there is nothing between them. Let's see if we can look at that nose once he gets back in line. Let him go on the corner and then close it up again on the backstretch. He is not going anywhere. If you look at that gap versus these next two, it is not it's not a pretty sight right now.
No, and I know Burdick was talking to Dodd earlier, begging him for him to push more if they're gonna have any chance at catching that lead pack.
That lead pack's pretty spread out now though too, so Tinsley Smith dropped back to 4th. I think he's playing a little game trying to figure out where he wants to be. Because you don't want to be leading this race with 1 or 2 to go here.
No, and you figure the Tough Brothers are going to go together. So if they go high, trying to pass Wayne Scott, Tinsley Smith may be able to get that run and be able to pass everybody else down low.
Yeah, go back and check in on this next little pack.
They've stabilized out at about 2.5 seconds.
They can see it. If they can get about another second and a quarter, they'll be in that draft, and they will have a good chance to pass the lead pack here. Ooh, Metler a little loose there, slides up the track.
Like we were talking about earlier, it's that fourth and fifth, that fourth car in that draft that makes all the bit of difference.
Yeah, if they could get hooked up, looks like Metler had to check up just a little bit. Verdict all over his back bumper is going to shove him back up into the... Oh, Metler loose. Able to get it back in, but that's going to cost him a little bit of time there.
That was almost disaster with less than 10 to go.
Yeah, Metler had to check up a little bit after he was getting a little too hard on the 61 of Rowan Lloyd there. Jason Burdick went to give Mettler a shove, and it just was not square, and that's almost sent him down the track.
Mettler may need to pass Lloyd here and get that front end and some clean air. I'm not sure if Lloyd's hurt a little bit and Mettler's just all over him, but they're still 2 seconds behind that lead pack as we see Mettler get sideways from a push by Burdick.
And Brendan Honeycutt's going to be on the high side here. Gets in line. Is the lap down?
But he's not out of it. Honeycutt could play the spoiler role here.
Yeah. Well, Honeycutt could push Kinsley Smith to the win. I'm not calling it now, but you know. 8 laps to go. Kirby Wainscott leading here in the Superspeedway series.
And if I remember right, Kinsley Smith and Honeycutt, aren't they on the same team?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they're on Driving Extreme Incorporated. So then you got Andrew Teft, Alex Teft, and Kirby Wainscott. They're all three on the same team, Chicken Coop Racing. So 7 laps to go.
That second pack is catching them. Less than a second.
Down to 7/10, a little less. So they are there now.
I'm honestly surprised Mettler hasn't gone up to try to get some air on his nose here. So we see a battle for the lead.
Bad pushes everywhere.
Big save.
61 trying to get by. Looked like he side-checked Alex Teft.
So it looks like Ode and Webb. Oh.
Wainscott. The Pratt. Oh.
But we're still staying green.
Yeah, we're staying green.
Not sure if that was a bad push on by one of the Teft brothers that just kind of got Wainscott out of sorts, and it was just game over from there. Mettler's hungry for that win. So he looks to the inside of Kinsley Smith.
Let's see if we can look real quick, see what happened with Kirby Wainscott while they're racing here. Oh, just a little bit of a... Oh, he came up to try and block.
Oh.
We got Kinsley Smith, Jason Burdick, Eric Dodd here. Matt Mettler on the bottom with Andrew Teft and Rowan Lloyd. Honeycutt's also in that high line. 4 laps to go, and it's going to be down to these drivers. The Pratt and Wainscott in the pits.
Mettler to the 3rd place on the inside of Eric Dodd. Can he get that run on that inside line?
Still staying there, still third side by side. Andrew Teff trying to push him up. Ooh, Mettler got a little loose there.
So his bumper's not lining up again.
Ford on Toyota crime.
As we come to the popsicle sticks, as we see that outside line start to shake up a little bit.
Andrew Teff went to the high line. Honeycutt went low. Matt Mettler and Rowan Lloyd stuck behind Honeycutt. Teff goes down to the inside, going to try and get himself a win. Down on the bottom, Kinsley Smith up high.
Andrew Teff is looking into the inside of Jason Burdick for P2. Can he get to Kinsley Smith as he does and overtakes? Will it hold?
Honeycutt. White flag is out. Honeycutt is pushing Andrew Teff past his teammate. Well, that's not going to be a fun conversation to have.
I think
Oh, Honeycutt ran out of fuel. So you were right.
Wow. Don't let my ex-wife hear you say that. As Mettler tries to take the lead.
Mettler, Kinsley Smith, Jason Burdick, Rowan Lloyd. Side by side by side. Kinsley Smith with the lead. Teff wrecked. Burdick wrecked. Kinsley Smith wins. Rowan Lloyd second. Matt Mettler gets a podium for P3.
Then finishing out your top five is going to be Eric Dodd in the 87 machine P4, Jason Burdick in the 23 machine P5.
Here's the run as we're coming out of 4. 5, 6 drivers. Oh, that looks like a little net code there for the 87 and the 98. But 5 guys trying to win. Kinsley Smith burning it down here.
Wow. That was another surprising ending. I was not expecting that one.
Well, you were right, though. The Chevy was going to win.
They really put on a show, you know, and to see it being, yeah, I mean, really, the 2 Chevys at the front was Dodd and Smith. So shall we pull up our very own Matt Mettler?
Yeah, you can talk to Matt.
Hey, Matt Mettler, this is Man Up Moniac in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Moneybags? I got you.
Junk in the field to take a podium spot.
I think I slid through page 4.
How did your race go overall?
Race started off horrible. I got caught up in that very first incident. I think on lap 2, had a ton of front end damage to my car. Could not get any straight line speed out of it. Worked on it. And car was pretty good. I still couldn't be out in front. If I was out in front leading the train, I had no speed. So I had to kind of reformulate my plan there. That final pit stop, I had to take 4 tires because I didn't take tires all race long because I was trying to work on the damage. And then really got to thank my teammate there, Rowan Lloyd. You know, we came out of the pits. We were 7 seconds behind that lead pack. And him and I were doing everything we can. We ran him down. And heck of a finish. Nice to come out on the other side of these things. And we'll take a third.
That was one heck of a drive. You had one heck of a view most of the race. I mean, to watch you come from the back up to the front, I know we were chatting up here about your temperature and how close you were to overheating there trying to push. I believe it was Lloyd.
It was, I basically stayed on him until it hit 291, and then I would lift, and that was kind of the threshold. I don't know how much more I could go, but that's the number we went with as far as the temperatures go. And man, he just held that car straight. And you know, there's a lot of good racers in this group out here tonight, and to be able to come home with a third place finish, maybe could have got a little bit more there, but I'm ecstatic.
You know, I was expecting you to lead the last lap. I thought that you had that one in the bag when everybody kind of got squirrely, but you can't shake your head at tonight's finish. You drove one heck of a race. I really have to hand you props. I believe you were the biggest mover from 16th to 3rd.
Yeah, we started almost shotgun on the field, and that was by design. I like starting in the back of these things. Sometimes that strategy is good, sometimes it's bad, as you know. You know, it's a crapshoot anytime you strap into one of these plate deals. But appreciate the compliment there. Great job by you guys up top, as always. And we'll take a third place finish here. Great way to kick this series off.
Definitely sounds good. Do you have anybody out there that you'd like to give a shout out to in the stands?
Oh, absolutely. Finally get a chance to thank some people. So got to give a shout out to SRM, you, Mike the Money, working with you guys and obviously putting on the broadcast. I got to thank Team Watson Racing Setups, one of my strategic partners. Big shout out to them. THD Designs for helping me put this design back together. This paint scheme came out great. It's kind of an inside joke if you ask Dave Regal about it. I won't get into it that much now. And then ultimately got to thank Rowan Lloyd. Without him, this wouldn't be possible. Just an all-around great performance, and glad to come home with third.
Congratulations on your podium, and we're going to let you go and celebrate with your team here. And thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Hey, good talking to you guys as always.
All right, that was Matt Metler, who had the 311 machine finishing P3.
Hey, everyone, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Well, that was a heck of a race. Looked like you were almost paddling and going nowhere for the last few laps, and then you were finally able to get a little momentum there. What was going through your head on those final 5 or so laps?
Yeah, you know, it was, I thought we had, me and Matt, I thought we kind of slowed down. I didn't think we were going to catch them. You know, we started gaining speed, traction, got up to their bumpers, you know, in the last 2 or so laps. I don't know what happened, but I kind of slowed up. But, you know, in the day, I got, I think, 2nd or 3rd. So, you know, I'm here talking to you guys, and that's really what I wanted today.
Yeah, you were able to bring it home P2, so heck of a run. We put Daytona in the rearview mirror. I believe next week we're going to be at the new Atlanta in the Xfinity cars.
Boy.
How do you feel about that one?
You know, I never feel good about any Superspeedway race, but I always have a lot of fun with them. You know, so I'm going to go into it thinking positively. Yeah, I don't really know what to think of it. If it goes like today, where it's, you know, the first 15, 20 laps, there's 3 cautions, I don't think my luck's going to go through tonight, or like it was tonight. So I feel like I'll probably get caught up in them. Yeah.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats on your P2. Anybody want to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
You know, I got to thank Andrew for putting this on. I think it's really great what he's doing. You guys for broadcasting. I guess, you know, my dad, my mom, my sisters for paying attention and watching. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, that's about it.
Definitely, Matt. Well, congrats once again, and maybe we'll talk to you later in the season.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too. All right, Matt, I'll let you talk to Kinsley.
All
Pull him
right.
up.
Hensley Smith. This is Matthew Moniak up in the booth. You got a copy?
How's it going?
Man, sitting up here in the booth watching that really made us want to be down in the cars. What was your strategy coming into tonight's race?
I looked at it more as fun. I really didn't have strategy. Just ride really. Somehow I always find a way to be first in these at the super speedways, but I don't know. I like it. It was a fun race.
Take us through this race. You know, I know you led 26 out of the 80 laps. You know, as you're dodging wrecks, did you figure this race was going to be spent more with cautions, or were you expecting it to be more dragged out and, you know, green flag racing, how we had on the opening night with 54 consecutive green flag laps?
I was hoping it was green. I don't like doing the minute and a half pace laps the whole race, but yeah, I was hoping it was green. I decided to start having a little fun and going from the back to the front continuously. So, but it was a good race. It was rocky at the beginning. What was it? 3 cautions, first 15, 20 laps or something like that. But and I was in one of them. So, but other than that, it was fun.
Overall, we had 3 cautions for 9 laps with this race. You know, you drove one heck of a race. It was our privilege to sit up here and watch it. Do you want to give a shout out to anybody out in the stands?
Of course, my teammates, Jason Burdick and Brandon Honeycutt, always working good together and always finding a way to get together during these restrictor plate tracks and working good and getting wins out. And then of course my daughter for watching the race, and she loves watching me do this. So, and then of course Andrew for putting on league for us, and you guys at SRM for broadcasting for us.
Just one last question here before you go celebrate with your team. That last move where we watched Honeycutt, I believe, push Mettler, was that designed, or was that just he kind of went off on his own and did that?
He kind of just went off on his own. He had he was trying to make it to the end. He was real close on fuel. He ended up running out down the backstretch there. So he was trying to play spoilers because he thinks it's funny when I don't win. So he was trying to play spoilers and get Andrew up there to win it, but he ended up running out of gas.
Fair enough. What are friends and teammates for?
Yeah, just to play jokes on you and stuff like that, and we always try to make it fun, and we're not really too serious when it comes to being serious about points and stuff like that. We're here to have fun, all in all.
Fair enough. We definitely understand that. You put on one heck of a show. Congratulations on your win, and we'll let you guys go out and celebrate.
Thank you, guys.
Well, let's see if we can get the race results up and close out the Super Speedway. We've got Kinsley Smith, Rowan Lloyd, Matt Mettler, Eric Dodd, and Andrew Teft, the top 5. They were all fairly close together towards the end there. And you got Alex Teft, Rick Webb, Richard Ode, Jason Burdick, Brandon Honeycutt round out the top 10. Brian LaPrette, Kirby Wainscott involved in the last little incident on track. Didn't bring out a caution, but they'll finish 11th and 12th. Barry Fennell, Nicholas Falsetta, Garrett Michael, Truth Hoke, and Justin Byers are going to round out the field. So with that, anything you want to say before we wrap it up here?
You know, it's going to be interesting to see on how this race is reviewed. I know that Jason slid through the pits, I believe, coming to the line. And it'll be interesting to see how it shakes up the point standings and results. But all in all, a really good race to watch and be a part of.
Yeah, 2 super speedway races done. They wrap it up and they head to Atlanta next week in the Xfinity cars. And then one more race after that. They're going to be at Daytona in the Gen 4 Cup cars. So 2 good races here to wrap up August. And they'll have a couple weeks off before we go back in time to the 87s at Talladega. So we'll see how that all shapes up when we get back here in September. But from all the drivers of the Racers Elite Super Speedway Series and all of us here at Sim Racing Media, I want to wish you guys a good night, and I'll see you next time.